Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. In today's review, we're going to take a look at the new DC Comics Multiverse Superman the movie figure, the 3¼ inch figure from Mattel. And this figure is based on the Christopher Reeve Superman, and like with all the DC Comic Multiverse figures, it comes packaged in your standardized blister card with the orange and red highlights on the back card. You've got a picture of Christopher Reeve Superman on the right side, and then you've got the Superman name at the bottom. Up at the top, it tells us that it's highly detailed and authentic and for adult collectors. Then on the back, we have a little brief bio about the Multiverse line, another picture of Christopher Reeve Superman, some stats for Superman, and then other figures in the Multiverse line. The Batman Returns Penguin, Batman Returns Catwoman, and the Superman 2 General Zod. Okay, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now, ever since Mattel first debuted these movie figures last year during the New York Comic Con, I think this is probably the figure that collectors have been most anticipating, the Christopher Reeve Superman. Now, the figure is 3¼ inch scale. The likeness to Christopher Reeve is, I would say, fair. It's not dead on. It's not Hot Toys quality. But you can, looking at it, tell that it is supposed to be based on Christopher Reeve. Now, I will say that the facial expression is a little weird. It's almost like he's kind of has a pouty face or something. So definitely, depending on what angle you're looking at it, it looks more like Christopher Reeve's than at other angles. But for a 3¼ inch scale figure, I think the likeness is fair. Like I said, you're not going to get Hot Toys quality likenesses out of a 3¼ inch figure like this. That's just not really a reasonable expectation. The prototype that we saw back at New York Comic Con was probably a little bit better than what the final version here is. But again, I think that that's a halfway decent likeness in this scale of figure. As far as the rest of the figure, the costume is pretty much dead on from what we saw in the movie, with the blues and reds and yellows and everything. He has on the back of his cape, he has the Superman logo just like you see in the movie. Now, the cape itself is your more traditional soft plastic that you typically see with Mattel figures with capes. Unlike the Batman figure, the Michael Keaton Batman figure, which had a fabric cape, we've gone back to the harder leather capes. So different kind of capes between the Batman movie figure and the Superman movie figure. The figure comes with no accessories at all, and articulation on this figure is not that great. It's pretty much on par with what we've seen with the other figures in this line. Really no up or down movement with the head, which is unfortunate, so you can't really get him in any kind of good flying poses. He does look left and right good. Arms are attached with your standard ball hinge joint. Now, you can see this is about the way it's sculpted. He can't really get his arms straight down to his side. So that's as close to his body as you can get his arms down. You can get the arms out, and he does have good rotation. There's no bicep swivel on this one. So like with General Zod, we did get a bicep swivel. Of course, on this one, we do get thigh swivel as opposed to bicep swivel. So it seems like there's kind of a switch off on some of the figures. General Zod did not have the thigh swivel. Single hinged elbow. So he can bend his elbow about that much. And then he does have the swivel wrists, but no hinges or anything at the wrists. And both hands are sculpted in closed-fisted positions. He does have a swivel at the waist, but no kind of ab crunch or anything like that. The legs are with those kind of T-crotches, but it does allow him, it's got the hinges on the side, so he does, he can get kind of like a splits. And he can do his leg forward well, and he can do it kind of out and back. As I mentioned, he does have the thigh swivel, single hinged knees, but no ankle articulation, unfortunately. So this figure stands at just a little bit over 4 inches tall, about 4¼ inches tall. He's about the same height as the General Zod figure, so they're almost identical in height. He is actually a little bit shorter than the Michael Keaton Batman, if you count to the tip of Batman's ears. Obviously, we've never seen the two together, but I'm pretty sure that Christopher Reeve was probably a taller actor than Michael Keaton, and you would think Superman would be a little bit bigger than Batman. That's my review. Overall, this is a okay figure. I mean, if you're a Christopher Reeve fan, then I think you'll definitely still want to pick this one up. I think the likeness is fair, especially if you're looking at him dead on, but he does kind of have a pouty expression, which can kind of throw the look off a little bit. But the biggest letdown on the figure, like with most of these, is just the articulation. You can't really get him into any cool kind of flying poses or anything like that, because there's no, no hinge joint on the neck, no ankle articulation, no midsection ab crunch of any kind. So, I think if Mattel would just add a little bit more articulation on these figures, they would have a really hot, popular figure that the collectors really like. And I mean, I know some collectors aren't as big on articulation, so I'm not saying you're definitely not going to like it because of the articulation, but I do think that if Mattel were willing to just give these a little bit more articulation, it would catapult this line to a much higher level of popularity with collectors. As it stands, like I said, this is a fair figure, and definitely if you're a Christopher Reeve fan, you'll probably want to pick this one up if you can find it. It is hitting shelves now, so start checking your local specialty shops and major retailers. And that's my review. Until next time, I'll catch you later.